Basically, this is an annual tradition that we have done for at least the last 6 years. We are raising money for ISLAC, which is a lung cancer awareness, international lung cancer awareness. And the reason we do that is John Fisher, who the Breakfast Club is named after, and who started this, unfortunately passed away in 2015 of lung cancer. He was misdiagnosed, they didn't know what was wrong, and it was pretty quick and sudden, unfortunately. So Lauren, his wife at the time, is here. So she's going to be talking a little bit more about John and ISLAC and what we've done over the last few years to raise money for an amazing organization. And she'll say this again, but lung cancer is the greatest #1 killer of people in America that nobody knows about.
We never think about this. We take it for granted. John lost his ability to take a deep breath due to lung cancer. And for those of you that knew John, he loved to talk. He talked all the time, and he loved to talk about real estate investing. In fact, sometimes he'd come home and I'd say, "You are forbidden to say the word house or real estate for the rest of the night," because that's all he talked about. It was his passion. In fact, 2 weeks before he died, he participated in an Invest Success training. Exhausted, barely able to speak. But it was his passion. John, like Tim said, John never smoked. And he was diagnosed and died within 30 days of his diagnosis because of the lack of understanding of early detection in lung cancer. So I had the opportunity to join a board of the International Association for the Study of Lung Cancer. And we do research all over the world on lung cancer and treatments and early detection and smoking policy. So today we're here to honor John and to really honor the fact that Invest Success has continued the legacy that John had of giving back, of giving to people. And 100% of any money that is given goes to the research. There's no administration costs. And it is a 501c3, so if you donate enough money that you want to have a tax receipt, we're happy to do that for you. But I'm asking every one of you, if you can at this time of year, because money's tight, I know we've got, quarterly taxes, we've got Christmas or Hanukkah, a lot of expenses, but if you could just donate $10, $20, $100, it helps. And everything goes to research and to honor John. So I appreciate Invest Success for continuing to support this organization and all of you for coming, especially in this bad weather.
This is a once and only.
Okay, but a couple of things that people may not have known about John Fisher was, one, that he was an avid skier. He was very much an outdoors guy. So for him to have gotten lung cancer was a cruel piece of irony. It was an unfair matter. He had never smoked anything, ever. And so he was, and the other thing was that he was a gifted musician. Unbelievably so. He could hear a song, go in the other room, grab his guitar, come back out and play it for you. And he could pick up and go right along with, and he could also sing. His best friend, Sandy Buckstein, who had been coming here, gazillion years ago, he was in a church choir. Choir sounds kind of odd, but it was a music group at his church. And he would play the guitar for that crowd. So, John was a spectacular human being on many, many levels. When he passed, they had a memorial service that it overflowed. They had it in a big, gigantic room, a room that's about double the size of all of Dazzle. It was packed. Then it packed out into the hallways, and then they packed every room around it till it was out in the parking lot. That's how, so in other words, this isn't my opinion only, okay? This isn't one man who was enamored with the fella who brought him into real estate. Half of Denver was enamored with this wonderful man.
A friend of mine and I decided to start a property management company because we were real estate agents. We were trying to sell people's houses. We couldn't sell anybody's houses because they're all underwater. And basically they were gonna lose money because the market was so low at that time. So we convinced ourselves and a bunch of people to say, hey, hold on to your properties. We're gonna wait this out and then we're gonna go sell them. And so when we developed this property management company, it was called Sticks and Stones Property Management. I had no idea where to figure out property management. Luckily, my partner Lance at the time, or my friend Lance at the time, he had a bunch of rentals. His family was a bunch of rental entrepreneurs. His dad retired in 1989 when we were sophomores in high school because he had 40 properties paid off free and clear. And he could retire. And I think he was, I guess, about 60, 65. He wanted to go to all our events and everything else, but he had all these properties, so we decided that we were going to start this property management company. So I started looking online of where to go, and I think, and I don't know how I found it, but I found this crazy meeting at 7 a.m. at an Embassy Suite on Hamden and Tamarack. And I showed up to this crazy meeting, and I was like, what the hell am I doing here? This was probably 15 years ago, so I was 30, late 30s, and all these older guys like John and Dave Sonner and all these guys were there, and I'm like, God, am I in the right place? Well, the first week was kind of okay, but as I was walking out, this guy named Don Kramer, he and I started talking. Don at the time wouldn't shake hands because he was afraid of germs. He's still alive, still kicking, but he wouldn't shake hands. He always fist pumps. He hasn't been back to Breakfast Club in a while, but he's great, and he's been doing deals forever. And he's like, yeah, you gotta keep coming back. You gotta keep checking this out. So came back the next month and still felt weird. Still felt like I shouldn't be there. The third month I came back, sat at this table and sat next to this nice lady, and she looks at me, she goes, you're the property manager guy, right? I said, yeah. She said, will you go manage properties in parts of town I don't want to go to? I said, heck yeah, of course. What would I say, no to business? She ended up, within the next month and a half, gave me 11 properties. Then I became her agent. I found her a 5-plex, and she was doing fantastic. Let me tell you guys, those properties was a lot of work. They're in unique parts of town. There was learning about other people and other cultures and other ways of dealing with people was amazing. But what also happened about that time is John and I started talking. And John was like, you got to keep coming back. You're doing a great job. You sound great. You're telling people what they need to hear. You're educating, and I like that. And 2 months later, John invited me to start being on panels for seminars he was giving. And he's like, yeah, I really want you to be there. You're my now go-to property manager. And we started building this property management company because of Breakfast Club. So in 2015, when I think the last time I saw him was in June, he was leading Breakfast Club, and he was coughing. He didn't look well. And the next 2 months were okay, but John wasn't there, and then John passed in September. And I called Justin, who was helping lead this. Justin Walker was helping lead this. And I sat down with him. I said, what are you going to do? Are you going to take it over? Are you going to buy it? Or are you going to continue this? And he looked at me and said, no. I said, what are you going to do? And Justin was a man of faith. He's like, I'm going to become a minister. And
he did.
And he did. And this is just going to sit here. And I said, and then I called 2 or 3 other people. There was a short guy, what's his name? He was with your castle. That used to be
Terry Lawrence.
Terry.
Terry.
I called Terry and said, "Are you going to continue this?" He said, "No." So I called 3 or 4 people and figured out, anybody gonna take this over? Everybody said no. I asked Justin, I said, "Can I talk to Lauren, who just left? Can I talk to Lauren? Can I ask her to buy this or continue this or see what?" And my goal at that time was just to take over the Breakfast Club so that I could, I was selfish. I wanted to continue a networking event that really helped me. And her and I sat down and she said, "Well, yeah, let's talk about this." So, creative financing and small businesses, and we came up with a deal, and I paid her a small down payment and built a royalty program. And then she said, "Take it over." So that's what I did. And I've always lived with the John mantra, Johnson, in the back of my head, telling me what to do and how to run this and how to keep it going. And it's been probably one of the biggest blessings of my life. So that's why we do this every December. That's why I'm here. And then I brought Jim on because Jim feels the same way. And it's really important that we continue this and we keep bringing people in. And I know today is small, so if this is your first event, this is small. Usually we're packed out to about here. Okay? We found Dazzle in 2016, and now we've chased them into 3 different places because Dazzle has given back to us. Because trying to find a place to open for breakfast for 70 people on a Saturday morning at 7 a.m. is almost impossible. And I don't want to start that search over again. And Matt and the team have been amazing. So thanks to Dazzle.